My next guest is coming off a huge win this past Tuesday at Contender Series and got that elusive contract that he definitely deserved. And of course, it is Jordan Williams himself. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Ryan. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I appreciate the time, and I can't help but feel good for you, man. I mean, after two times on there before, you get a third crack at it, and you really came out and looked phenomenal. How are you feeling right now? I got to imagine pretty good.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, the sky's feeling, like that's the only thing that's up right now, dude. I'm on cloud nine right now. It feels good. It feels good, and just kind of like letting myself accept the feeling. At first, you don't want to accept it. You don't want to. You kind of feel a little humble. You don't want to be like, oh my god, like I'm feeling really like this good. But now, just like I'm just letting myself really like soak it all in.
Did you feel more pressure coming into this fight? Obviously, you had that win over Karen that was turned to a no contest. Then you had that loss to Ramazan. And here with this one, did you feel like, man, if I don't get it done here, I might not get another shot?
Oh yeah, and like that's what I was telling people before this fight. I was like, how do you feel? I mean, you must. They were saying that I must not have that much pressure because I've already been there before. I'm like, yeah, but I've already been there twice. And the first time I stepped up to the plate, it was like a foul ball. Like I got a piece of it, it was but just sent in the wrong direction. Dana wasn't impressed. But second swing at bat, it was a strike. Straight swing and a miss. Judges take away a win from me. Even if the world thinks I won, I didn't do enough to solidify my performance. So at this swing at the plate, I told people before I had to hit a home run.
Mm-hmm. I do want to backtrack with those previous fights first, but let's talk about this one. What was the game plan going in there against Gregory, and did you feel like you were going to be able to do what you did and get him out of there as quickly as you did?
Well, the game plan was to wear him out into the latter rounds because we saw how big he is and how tall he is, but we knew about his on track. He stays on the center line and he doesn't even have that good a head movement. So we planned on the throw that left hand and a couple of combinations based off the left hand setup throughout the whole fight, and what we knew it was going to land because of his straight momentum. He just goes forward and he doesn't move his head that much. So, but he did surprise me with his striking. He did have, some good kicks in there. He got me to the body a good time. And I did think that I can put him to sleep. I told myself, we all told ourselves, like, man, like, we're going to have to knock this guy out because if we do go to war, yeah, I can tire him out, but he's got that jiu-jitsu ground game and everything. He's got accolades to where he can make it a grueling fight if he wants to. He can make us both wear our muscles down just because of his strength in grappling.
When you let out that primal scream after the win, give me my contract, were you looking at Dana, or was that just kind of, you were just letting it go, all those emotions coming out?
I wasn't looking at Dana with my eyes, but I was with my soul, and then I found the first camera after, and I just said it to the camera. And then it's funny, one of my friends, he asked me, he's like, dude, did you plan on saying that? Did you plan on saying it, or did it just come out? I was like, man, it just came out. And matter of fact, I told myself, don't yell something like that. Like, just like, dude, this is your third time on the show. Just do everything perfect. Be humble, be everything, and just like, don't piss Dana off at all in any way. And I just yell out, fucking hire me after. I was like, oh.
I got to tell you, though, man, it was one of those signature moments that I'm going to remember, maybe not just from this season, but just collectively from Contender Series. It was a really, really cool moment, especially with this being your third crack at Contender Series and doing what you did here. Now, you were supposed to fight Kyle Stewart, then you were supposed to fight KB Bullar, and now you have this third opponent because of the pandemic. What has this camp been like for you? I got to imagine it's just been a very long and drawn out camp, regardless of who the opponent was going to be.
Oh, dude, I just want to say that's not even half the story. And I was supposed to fight KB Bullar first, and then he dropped out of that world championship fight in Canada. And then I was supposed to fight Anthony Adams. He didn't even accept the fight up in Denver. They wanted me to fly up to Denver 2 weeks notice up in where he lives. And so he's already acclimated to the elevation. And he said no. And then it went to Kyle Stewart. He said, finally, someone says yes, as someone who's been in the octagon before. Okay, good. I'm going to get some good recognition for this. COVID takes that away. So that's just on that end. On the other, let's just say about the Contender series. They signed me up to fight Jordan Wright August 11th. I break my knee 3 weeks before that fight. So a Volgin fracture, the tendon on the back of my patella detached from that bone, and it took a piece of bone with it, and I had a legit broken knee. That's what the doctors described. Now that also came with the possibility of tearing my left ACL, LCL, and meniscus. The surgeon was really concerned, or the orthopedic surgeon was really concerned that I had torn at least one of them. So we had to get an MRI. MRI came back clean, and so they pushed the fight back to October 6th. October 6th is, coming up. Jordan Wright gets called into the UFC. He gets his shot. Leaves me opponentless. I'm like, okay, great. Like, you choose him over me. Fine, I get it. He's all flashy with his record, but they set him up. He has a good management, by the way. But I'm just leaving me opponentless. And then so now, a week or 2 weeks later, I'm in the dark for 2 weeks, just training off a whim that they're gonna find something for me. Manager just hit me up. Jordan, have you been training? September 15th, 13-day notice. Do you want to fight Rodrigues or Gregory Rodrigues Contender series? Before I even looked him up, I said, "Fuck it, let's do it." And then I said, "Yeah." I looked at his record, 7-2. Fuck it, let's do it. And then I look him up. I was like, "Oh shit, this is big looking mother." Oh, all right. And then from then it was like then that feeling of a roller coaster was still going up, because now I'm back into training camp mentality with only 13 late days left to really tune in those thoughts, so and study for him. I had 7 days. I had because the week before the fight I had 6 days really for the study and spar for how he spars and study. 6 days to prep for him, and then those other 7 days you gotta kind of relax. You gotta let your body heal, because I was still training through training camp, and that was really the whole story of getting this contract this time around.
It sounds like 2020 was very much so like a roller coaster for you. How sweet is it now to be where you're at and get that win?
Man, it's the sweetest candy, and I can't. I'm gonna keep eating it. I'm gonna break my diet and just sip on this candy for a minute.
Did you get a chance to talk to Dana privately afterwards? What did he say to you if you did?
No. He was in and out, and they're really he's a big guy, and even though everyone's all tested for COVID and everything, they were everyone's they're trying to keep their distance, everyone's professional. But he did stop by, he did shake all of our hands. He came by and did break that rule, shook all our hands, and said good job to all of us, and definitely give us all some recognition, and that felt good. I didn't get that one-on-one conversation, but something tells me in the very near future I'm gonna have a lot more chances to do so.
Did you even think for a second that you wouldn't get a contract? I mean, you had to know, right? Like, okay, I'm getting my contract now.
I mean, yeah, but just how the judges are, just how this is my third time on the show, and there have been people. I remember this heavyweight. He knocked someone out via spinning back fist, and Dana didn't take him. He said, "I'll." Then invited him to the house. And that was the first time. My first time around, they invited someone to the house. When I saw a heavyweight. He was spinning back fist and knocked the other dude out. And Dana was like, "You want to go to a house?" I'm like, "So you never know, man." It's this is my third time around. I was just trying to prep myself for any answer.
Sure. Outside of the candy, how did you celebrate, or how are you still celebrating?
I mean, I'm not still celebrating. I'm still recovering from the celebration last night. My the house that I live in, I have a bunch of roommates, and we live in this big Queen Victoria. I have this really big room downstairs, but it's everyone in the whole household. We all came together and had a big old barbecue last night. I had a little bit too much to drink, So, but too much is just the right amount. When too much is just the right amount, just right now.
Yeah, well, hey, man, you deserve to have a little break after everything that you've been through. Now getting the contract, celebration is in order. Now, again, we've talked about it a little bit before. Everything that you've gone through. I want to go back to that Ramazan loss. You did say you felt you
Mhm.
won that fight. What's the one takeaway from that fight that you're going to really implement here moving forward as you get into the UFC?
Besides that, how ugly I looked after that fight, don't don't take unnecessary damage. Like I was, people would look at my face after that fight and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like I'd see it. Even if like the stewardess on the plane, bless her soul, she's like, "This drink's on the house, honey. Let's give him a double. This guy needs a double." And they, I was like, "Well, thank you, I do." And just and more a lot of movement. There's a lot of technique that really have to look back to that fight and accept. And to be honest with you, they would have told me, if they would have gave me the true answer that I still had, like that was the same fight. And if I would have thought that I won that fight, or I do think I won that fight, but if they would have gave me that win, I wouldn't have gone back and watched that fight and critiqued myself so hard like I did. Like, okay, what did I how did I leave it in the judge's hands? Like, okay, I was doing this. I left my back against the cage. I I let him. I didn't forward pressure him enough to where the point where he was still able to do some creativity, and I left the pressure off him enough to where he was creative enough to throw that flying knee to that whatever combo. So that's on me. And I gave him that opportunity, and that this fight, I learned from that, and that's why in this fight I didn't give Gregory the opportunity.
Yeah, and again, you capitalized very quickly there in the first round. Now, the fight against Karen, you won the fight, but it was overturned to a no contest because you tested positive for marijuana. How does
Yep.
that make you feel, man? Like marijuana, a lot of people are just like, it's marijuana, right? Like, how are you going to get worked up about that? It's not like you're taking steroids or anything. What is your take
Right.
on that for medicinal reasons, recovery, and how do you think that's going to change maybe moving forward?
I mean, I think it's a bunch of bullshit. To be honest, I think a lot of people in USADA think it's bullshit too, but they have to follow um, federal law. So it's a big loophole. It's a big rabbit hole that no one can close up, and they're trying. I feel like they're trying really hard because everyone backstage, the people checking you, making sure you're not doing steroids and stuff. The person that's in your warm up room, they're all cool. They all know I'm a diabetic. They all heard the story. I smoke weed, and they all like man, like it's just like So I really think that there's a chance if we have enough backing for the rules and regulations of marijuana to be even loosened or even like looser or forgiven completely. But I mean, until that point, I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. But to me, I think it's bullshit. But what can you do? I learned from it. I took that fight on 5 day notice. Like, come on, of course it's gonna test positive. So, but now I took this fight on 13 notice, and guess what I was doing 14 days before the fight?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I stopped 13 days out, and you kind of go in and I have a system. We have a system for I clean up my system a proper way, proper, clean, legal way, and then we move forward. My management knows now. They kind of give me a little heads up, and like a 2 week notice is really not for me in getting myself ready because I've done it on 5. It's really just like, okay, I know I'm a 5 day notice fighter. I've told that to the world. I've told that to myself, but I also told the world that I smoke marijuana. And
Yeah.
so we just have to, we have to be smart with our choices.
Yeah, no, that makes all the sense in the world. Now, this fight you weighed in at 181 pounds, and you did say everyone knows you are a type 1 diabetic. How has that affected you? And I have one of my best friends. He's an amateur fighter here in Maine, and he's a type 1 diabetic, and I know how it affects him. How are you, I guess, evolving with that as you're getting older and trying to, or with your career, just moving forward in general?
uh, you know, Test myself way more, be more calculated with where my numbers are at, not just be like, okay, it's in a certain range. Like, okay, I really want my numbers between this 10 point scale. And then so I don't want to be like, I used to be, oh, it's above 200, great. Like, no, I want it. Like, let's see how I feel at 220 and see how the workout goes. Let's see at what time do I need to re up on sugar, or do I need to re up on sugar? Because If I go just above 200, what if it's like at 250? You know, that is an over crystallized bloodstream that's traveling through my body and that I have to perform with. But so it helps me perform so I don't go into a low, but at the same time, that's where your fatigue sets in because you're damaging the quality of your veins by pumping that high blood sugar through them every second you have it. But it's every second necessary that I need for fight. So now I need to fine dial and like, okay, well, am I going to keep it at this number or this number? And really take notice. Maybe start videoing my practices and say, okay, you started looking weak at this point of practice, you know, or and really find out what is my best number.
Now, this last fight was at 185 pounds. Are you going to maybe change weight classes, 170, 185 moving forward? Or are you going to stick one or the other? What's your thought process there?
You know, well, I'm gonna do this as a professional. I'm gonna see how my options open up with finding like a new nutritionist. And I want to talk to a nutritionist and see like how many diabetics they have worked with and have helped through a weight cutting process. You know, and it's yeah, I'd like to go forward with any possibility, you know, and also get my weight down. I'm gonna have to get my speed down. I want to find an agility coach and a strength and conditioning coach that's gonna get my speed up because I know those little fuckers are faster than me. So it's just like everything needs to be in order for me to make that move.
Mhm.
I'm 6-0. I'm 5-1, but I'm like 6-0 in my book with 5 KOs at 185 against a big dude. Now, no one's asking the question, why can't these big guys knock me out? No
Why?
no one's ever asked me that. But that's the other side of this coin that no one's letting the coin land on.
Why do you think that is?
My brain's hydrated. I can think faster. My thoughts are processing better. The things that are processing are just more higher quality. And I could take a bigger punch because my brain is hydrated. And there's more oxygen, there's more hydrogen, there's more flow of what your brain needs to produce and function in a fight.
So do you feel like you're more dangerous at 185 versus 170?
Yes. I know I'm more dangerous at 185 because I've done the fight. I've only lost at 170. I've only been finished I've only been knocked out at 170. I've noticed how weak I felt during those fights. I noticed how weak my legs felt, how I couldn't even stand during the fight, and it was round one. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason why I look at these big guys and they all look scary, but you know what's scarier is going in round one with no leg strength.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Now, there's some monster middleweight fights coming up. Obviously, the title between Adesanya and Costa. You got Whitaker facing Cannonier. Give me some picks, man. Who do you think is going to win there?
I mean, can we kind of do a coin flip pick between Adesanya and Costa? Because I got my boy Adesanya, you know. I'm a fan of his. You know, he reminds me of myself that I can do what he's doing at this weight class, you know. So obviously I need to work on my proficiency and my technique more down the game to get on his level. But I feel like I'm now in a mental state and a mental platform to allow me to grow to that. So I got Adesanya, but you know, in the latter rounds, or a flash knockout or Paulo Costa in a flash knockout.
Mhm.
That's the only way it's gonna happen for me. And you know, that's the only pick I have time for, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No worries, brother. Well, listen, I appreciate your time here today. I know you got another interview to get to. So again, great one. Congratulations. And if anyone you want to thank or any social media you want to plug, the floor is yours.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the time. I appreciate you having me on your show. And I want to give a big shout out to Precision Farm Services. That is, again, the sponsor who offered me my knockout bonus and really juiced me up. He had a great phone call with me. That's my boy, Rafael. I love you, man. That's my boy. Thank you for all the support that you're doing. Let's see, Julian Solano. I gotta thank my boy Adam. He's a realtor that does realty up in Sonoma County. I totally appreciate you, man. I want to give a big shout out to my sparring partners, Adam, the Bother, Wamsley, and Dom Shona Waters, my boys. Thank you so much for just. I only had 2 sparring partners the whole training camp for them, and this pool had Anderson Silva and Jacare Souza, whoever, all those greats that they were naming off, and I just had you boys, and we got the job done. I appreciate you for it. And of course, my coaches, Dave Terrell, Jerry Herrera, You man, we brought back the W in that contract. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Again, well, listen, I appreciate the time. Congratulations, and I look forward to talking to you again down the line.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Take care.
Thank you, sir.